21 Sports Director Jason Bristol live in the studio with us. And Jason, going mainstream, has it been more difficult for the player or for the team itself?
Well, Rob and Tanya, I think it's been an adjustment for everyone, but this player really wanted to prove something to himself and to others to a lesser extent, that he can do anything without actually hearing anything.
Okay, so that means that there's a respect factor that's just not there yet.
The pregame meeting.
Jordan will start on the point guard.
For a basketball team, this is where it all comes together.
On the count of three, team, 1, 2, 3.
But the team at Penn State Harrisburg requires another set of hands because one of its players is deaf. Doug Persing is just a freshman, so he doesn't play a lot. But his mere presence here has taught his teammates that not only do you need a nose for the ball, you have to make the most of your other senses, too.
Communication is a must, you know what I mean? That's one thing we learned as a whole team, is to communicate more.
And communication is about connecting. And Doug receives a huge assist from his interpreter, Kendra Blessing. Where he goes, she goes.
So I have to depend on the interpreter a lot, but also learn myself independently how to communicate with the teammates as well.
And naturally, Doug could have gone to Gallaudet, a university for the deaf, but he wanted a challenge.
He was also willing to take a risk of possibly not fitting in so he could follow his dream.
When I grew up in Pennsylvania, my dream was to go to Penn State. I don't want to feel limited to Gallaudet or deaf schools just because I am deaf. I wanted to be different.
Obviously, being deaf is not an issue for Doug, but being deaf can be an issue for others. For starters, he and Kendra had to make sure they were on the same page.
At the beginning, it was a little tough, but I would always ask him, like, what does this mean or what does that mean, to make sure, like, I understood clearly, and then he would either explain to me what it meant or we would make up signs or stuff.
And his teammates, they respect Doug for how hard he works in practice and his desire to be different, but at the same time, be like everyone else.
As the season goes along, each day that goes by becomes more and more normal for him and for us, where he's just one of the guys.
I mean, I don't feel special or unique in any way. I feel like any other kid would.
And that's another sign of a team that has truly come together.
It certainly is, and Doug lost his hearing when he was just 9 months old after being treated for a staph infection. You know, I asked him, what are your goals? And he said, obviously get that engineering degree, and in a few years he wants to be a role model for the underclassmen on the team.
A role model?
He's already a role model.
Yeah, he's absolutely a role model.
Yeah.
That's
Naturally, Doug could have gone to Gallaudet, a university for the deaf, but he wanted a challenge.
He was also willing to take a risk of possibly not fitting in so he could follow his dream.
When I grew up in Pennsylvania, my dream was to go to Penn State. I don't want to feel limited to Gallaudet or